Good morning. My name is Marcia Stromgren, and you've tuned in to Just the Facts. I have a guest in the studio today who will be telling us about a project that she's been working on. Her name is Therese Gruba. Welcome, Therese.
Gruba.
Gruba, thank you.
That's okay. Therese
Sorry.
Gruba.
I sometimes do that. Therese Gruba. Therese, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about, first of all, yourself, and then what organization is it that you're involved with?
Okay. Well, I live in the Woodland area in Duluth, Minnesota, and I am so thankful to be in Duluth with the beautiful lake and the parks, and it's the longest I've ever lived anywhere. My husband and I have raised 7 children here in Duluth, and now have our 4th granddaughter or grandchild on the way. 3 are granddaughters. I'm not sure what the 4th is going to be, but I have been a homeschool mom. I have a background in the theater, have my degree, my BFA degree from UMD, and I founded, or co-founded rather, our nonprofit, which is why we're here today, back in 2019. It's called New Hope for Families, and our goal is to raise more good fostering homes, raise interest in the foster care system and the foster care needs, and then also support those that are fostering.
So did you start right away in 2019 with foster people, or did you know some, or did you have to go out and seek for them, or how is it that you were able to get some foster care people?
Okay. My husband and I had, and I'm sure lots of people can relate to this, maybe even you, when you have a family and you have children in your home, you oftentimes will end up with other children in your home. And so that happened with my husband and I many times over the years. We would have neighbors that were going through rough times and have needs, and we would end up taking care of their children for a while, unofficially, not officially licensed as foster parents. And then back in, I think it was 2017, right around there, my daughter and son went on a missions trip to Reynosa, Mexico, with Lakeview Christian Academy, and a group that leaves from Lakeview Christian Academy, but it includes the entire community. And my daughter, who was young at the time, really wanted to go badly, but I didn't want her to go alone, and I couldn't get away for that amount of time. And so my son offered to go with her. He was age 18, I think. They had an amazing time at this ministry right across the Rio Grande, from McAllen, Texas, which is kind of a hot spot right now. But in Reynosa, there is a beautiful, almost, I think it's 30 to 40-year-old ministry that was founded by a man from Chicago named Ray Hansen, and it's called Rio Bravo Ministries. And they came back and said so many great things about this work that had been founded for the children in that city that were on the streets, needing education, needing families, needing hope. And so that piqued my interest. And then the following year, my son actually surprised me with a gift for Christmas and raised my funds to go on the same mission trip together with him, because I had expressed my heart's desire to go, and I thought that would be just great, but let them go. And I'd been on a number of mission trips to various places over the course of my life, and I thought, now they need to do that, but I got to go. And it's an amazing trip that goes every year. And like I said, it's open to the community, so anyone who's interested can take part. Adults and teenagers go and do a service project or 2 or 3 or 4 while they're at the ministry, and then get to know the children and the families that are living in this 1-block area in Reynosa. And it's become an oasis. And I saw the way, while I was there, I saw the way that they were caring for these beautiful children, and met Ray Hansen, heard his story, and when we arrived, he stood our group around him in a circle, and he said, I want you to pay attention to what the Lord lays on your heart while you're here with us. Because he has a work for each one of you, a life's work, a life purpose. And I want you to pay attention to what that might be. See what's going on here. See how you can make a difference in the world. And I took that to heart. And so I was real prayerful while I was there about what the Lord might lay on my heart. And on the bus ride home, it's a 2-day bus ride there and a 2-day bus ride back, 2.5 day. And we all had a chance to stand up on the bus and say how it had impacted us. And I listened to what my son said, and I was just so thankful that he and my daughter had a chance to do this kind of thing, because I really believe that we're meant to serve. That it is more blessed to give than is to receive. You know, you just...
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, you and I have a couple of things in common. I home educated for over 20 years.
Oh, did you?
And
yeah, we were a 12-year homeschool. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my son and I, of course, I was on the mission field in Bemidji twice, the Indian reservation up there,
Oh, wow.
Lakeview Covenant, and then
Wow.
from Lakeview Covenant also went to Jamaica with my son. And I can empathize and I can feel what you're saying. We went and did projects, but we also went into a, well, parents had too many children and they put them in these orphanages. And we worked at that orphanage one day, and I remember holding this beautiful little boy, really curly hair, fairly light skin. But of course, you know that the Jamaicans are dark skinned, so he was, you know, a mix. But I thought how these children are never helped. Kind of breaks my heart right now to talk about it a little bit, because that's what they needed. They needed to be held and loved. Mm-hmm. And they were stuck in these orphanages because their parents couldn't afford to take care of them. Yeah. So, yeah, I was very blessed, and it definitely opened my eyes to how much we have here in America versus what they don't have.
Yeah, it's a good thing to expose ourselves to. Really, it is.
Yes.
Puts everything in perspective.
Yes.
And it's kind of nice when it can happen at a young age. Anyway, on the bus on the way home, we had a chance to stand up and talk about the highlight that we had. And I heard myself saying it was such a gift to watch how these children were being raised in a community of love and support. And it was Christ-centered. And so Jesus was like the center of everything, and that permeated everything. And there was hope. And Ray had said, we are not raising these children in our community so that they get a good education and then they get a good college education, because they also provide college education for these kids. Wow. Yeah, and he said not to go and leave this community and go into the United States and leave. We want them to get a good education here, get good love and support, and a healthy upbringing, and then they turn around and they impact their own community. They stay right here, and that changes the community for the better. And I just thought, that's such a great model. And I said, I stood up and I said, wouldn't it be amazing if we could somehow duplicate what they're doing in Reynosa, in this beautiful oasis in the center of a just drug-infested area, just lots of very much, it is a poverty-stricken area. But wouldn't it be cool if we could do the same thing? Because in Reynosa, they have 6 homes on a city block, and that that whole city block is encased by a beautiful wall. Actually, it's walled. That's why it's an oasis. And these homes have all been built by the groups that come up, like ours, year after year. Just it had been expanded to include a school and a gymnasium, and then these homes. And each of the homes is a family. And it's staffed by a mom and dad, not necessarily staffed, but it's mom and dad, and it's their responsibility to raise 10 to 12 children. As long as those children need a place to be, families will come and drop their children off.
Okay. So
Oftentimes the police will come and, because of drugs. Drugs are that's the biggest problem we have right now, are the drugs that are taking parents out. And I know that's the same here. And so I was picturing doing fostering within a community of support. I know we can't, legally in Minnesota. In fact, I said to Ray while I was there, has anybody ever asked you if you could use this as a template to do something similar in the States? And he said right away, I'll never work. Too much red tape. And I said, but Ray, they said that to him too when he got there. I said, but God, if God loves family, he loves children, and he wants us to care for these children. So I heard myself say that on the bus again, and then gradually I just kept talking to people when I came home about, what if we could do that? What if we could try to duplicate caring for kids who have need, for however long that is, within a community of love and support, so that oftentimes fostering families don't stay in it very long because the number one is they're isolated and they don't have support. And so that was kind of the beginning of the vision, and here we are today.
the Lord has blessed.
Indeed, indeed, it's all his work.
Well,
We're just an army of volunteers, and
Right.
can't take any credit for that, but just stepping out by faith one step at a time, just making the next connection,
so now you've expanded upon just the foster part of it by having fundraisers to help support this ministry. How many, well, first of all, maybe I should ask, how many foster homes do you have right now?
that are affiliated. They're not. It's not official. We're not very official. Just looked at my scale yesterday with a couple of the kids that I've had a chance to foster the last 14 months. I had a couple kids. Jim, my husband, and I got licensed, and we've just been so blessed to have these children. And they were looking at my scale on the wall that a friend of mine drew, and our goal in 2019, when we first were founded, May of 2019 was when we basically opened our doors and became our nonprofit, New Hope for Families. And our goal was 20 families. We wanted to recruit 20 new foster families. Well, since then, we are up to 18 on our, that not necessarily that we have recruited, but that have come alongside us and joined our community. Several of them we have, including our family, we have recruited. And, Tom and Nicole share. They're one of the first families that we recruited. Tom heard me speak. Tom and Nicole were at the dinner that was kind of a recap of the Rio Bravo trip. 2 of their children had been on that same trip with us. Okay. And they happened to be at that dinner. And Tom and Nicole, I had about 3 minutes to speak, and afterwards they were going to release all the kids for lunch at the school. And so they said, you take up those 3 minutes, and I'd only said a couple things, and I looked at the clock and I thought, I've got to say a couple more things. What should I say? And that's when I heard myself say, wouldn't it be great if we could duplicate what goes on at Rio Bravo Ministries here in the Northland and raise more foster homes and support more foster homes and come alongside these families and really support them. So my vision was and remains that these foster parents actually serve like missionaries, like they do in Reynosa. They're fully supported. They don't have a house payment. They don't have a car payment. Their children are given a college education. Their insurance is covered, all their medical expenses. They get a week off every 6th week to respite. And the longevity is years, because they are so well provided for. So there's the consistency built into that model that is somewhat lacking in many of the scenarios that we have here in the United States. So those are just a few of the things that I thought, oh, that would be so wonderful if we could get those going within a community of support.
Well, it's through Pastor Tom Schreier, because I've been pro-life for, well, my son is born in 1973.
Wow.
So I've been in the pro-life movement, and that's how I met Pastor Tom, because he took over for Jim Tuttle from Superior.
Right.
And I was at the banquet that they had down at the deck, and the changeover happened. So that's when I first met Tom and Nicole. Great people.
Amazing.
And they're the ones that told me about your gala last year that you had in September, and I'd like to just briefly say something about that.
Please.
And then you can tell me a little bit more.
That'd be great.
So on September 16th, at the Northland Country Club, you had a gala. You had a silent and live auction. There was a dinner and silent and live auction cash bar, which I filmed, and of course that's up on it's up on the YouTube channel now, so other people can see that in the future.
Great.
They want to go in and tune to that. But I'd like you to tell me, this is the second gala that you had?
Yes.
Okay, and just tell the people a little bit about putting that together and what exactly goes on there, other than what I said.
Okay. Well, it really wasn't my idea initially. It was a professional couple here in Duluth that said, you need to do a fundraiser. You need to put on a gala. And I said, I do. And they said, yeah. And so we did. And so we kind of just dove into it. I have never done anything so extraordinary. It's an amazing amount of coordination to put it together, but the Lord has provided the talent, the help, and all of the resources to make it happen. And the first year, we were highly successful. We raised, let me think, I think it was right around maybe 30,000 the first year. And the second year we had to cancel because of COVID. Everything was shut down. And so then we did ours last September, and we almost doubled the amount of people we had attend, and we almost doubled the amount of, we did double the amount that we raised for our foster families and the children that we support, the foster children. And this year, it's September 15th, and it's at Northland Country Club again. And yes, we have a live auction. We give away fairly large, beautiful, not giveaway, but we have donated to us to auction off amazing, amazing getaways, hotel stays, tickets to the twins, a puppy last year.
That beautiful little puppy. What a gentle animal that was.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yes.
That she was a highlight, I must say.
Oh, she was, yes.
Yeah. And we have a silent auction. And so, yes, a dessert auction. And if anyone who sees this would like to get involved and donate anything, time. We need committee members to help us, and we also need items. So in-kind donations, you can sponsor. We have anywhere from a platinum sponsorship all the way down to a bronze. So platinum, gold, silver, and bronze, and it's all on our website. And tickets are available.
Why don't you give that website right now?
Yeah, newhopeforfamilies.com.
And again, that's September 15th.
Yes.
At Northland Country Club.
Thursday evening, yep, at Northland Country Club. Beautiful, historic Northland Country Club.
I believe the cost of this gala is very reasonable for what you get as far as a dinner goes in the evening. It was very reasonable.
Yes,
So-
that's what I've been told,
Yeah.
just to keep the tickets at that price. And all of the proceeds go toward, of course, providing the meal, and then to our fostering families. And Marcia, in early 2019, we acquired a beautiful community center.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's my favorite, one of my favorite stories with Tom and Nicole Share, because the evening that he heard me, or the afternoon that he heard me speak, he and Nicole came up to me and said, "We should have dinner. We want to talk to you about getting licensed." And so we did. My husband and I had dinner with he and Nicole, and they talked about how their ministry was shifting. He had been a pastor for 13 years, and that was at Sandy Lake Baptist Church, and sensed the Lord leading his life more toward the pro-life ministries here in Duluth, and they were considering a move from out near Sandy Lake to Duluth. Their children were in school here, had jobs here, and they said, if we start the licensing process, because Tom said, "Yeah, I think we want to get licensed," and Nicole said, "We do?" Kind of like that. And I think they would say the same thing. Tom, he kind of forgot to mention his thoughts to Nicole first.
That sounds familiar.
So, but they began the licensing process, but needed a house. And so I said, "You guys, God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He can find us a big old Duluth mansion. We just need to pray." And Lord, we did. We just prayed, "Lord, we need a big old house for Tom and Nicole." And they stepped out by faith, started the licensing process, which, by the way, is not difficult. And I like to say, if you're 18 and you're breathing and you pass a background check, you can foster. And because of COVID, that's one of the perks, I think, that happened. Almost everything is done online, all the trainings. And there's such a great need. There's such a great need right now. So if you ever have sensed, I'd like to check that out, I don't know how, reach out to us and we can help you with that. We can help you get started and connect you to a social worker down at the St. Louis County offices. That's all on our website also. So newhopeforfamilies.com. All of those things are available, even the forms you need to get started for a background study and things like that. But anyway, we prayed, and Pro-Life Ministries was looking for a home for unwed mothers at the time, and heard about the house that the Benedictine sisters owned, it's in the Portman Square area in Duluth, just up from the hospitals. And they had not only a big old house, but it was attached to a big old community center that used to be the St. Anthony's Church and School, the Catholic school that had functioned from 1922 all the way to 1983. And then they closed their doors, and they sold the entire facility to the Benedictine sisters. The diocese sold it to the Benedictines, and then they utilized it. They ran a child care center out of it until June of 2018.
What
But
timing.
knowing that they were going to be letting go of the building because it just became apparent that it was time for them to let it go. Either they were thinking of, I've heard that they were even considering tearing it down or turning it into whatever, housing or something. But if you know anything about the Benedictine order, they are very community-minded and generous, and they love caring for people. They're all about taking care of people and taking care, especially of kids and families. And the pro-life ministries took a look at it and decided not to take it. And Tom knew about it. And he said, Therese, I think we should go take a look at this. I hear there's a house attached to it. And so, did you go and look at it?
I was there for their picnic last year after the pro-life march.
Okay. After we'd acquired it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering if you were there when Pro-Life Ministries looked at it and thought, whew, too much work. Because it had housed records for St. Mary's Hospital. And the hospital, in exchange, took care of all the utilities to keep the building warm enough so that it wouldn't, the pipes wouldn't burst, the steam heat wouldn't, explode. And then 2 of the Benedictine sisters were still living in the rectory, the 7-bedroom home.
Oh.
And the home is attached to the community center. The top level is a sanctuary, beautiful Romanesque arches, just it's a gorgeous concert hall, really. And that's on the 2nd level. And then the lower, the main level was the child care center. And at one time it was an art studio for one of the Benedictine sisters who was a fairly well-known artist with paintings and mosaic work. I can't think of her name right now. But anyway, she had that as a studio, and then they used it as an adult daycare as well. And then the lower level boasts a great gymnasium and an art room, which was the 1st grade classroom at the time of the school. But anyway, the day we went to look at it was a cold day in January 2019, December of 2018. And dark and just freezing cold. And we walked through it, and like I said, it was full of file cabinets, records that St. Mary's was storing on the sanctuary level, windows, and just everything that they didn't know what to do with but didn't want to throw. And boxes and boxes of files, and then down in the gymnasium level, same thing. Rows and rows of file cabinets. And I've met many people who have worked for St. Mary's or Essentia, and they said, yep, I've been there looking for records. I know what you're talking about. But the walls were crumbly in places. It looked like maybe there was a leaky roof in the sanctuary, in the corner of the sanctuary, where the beautiful stucco wall had crumbled. And I said to myself, I don't think this is the one for us. This is a lot of work, and it'll probably get us all sidetracked. We just want to find a home for Tom and Nicole. But the house is perfect. 7-bedroom home, beautifully cared for, really. And went down into the gymnasium that day, and on the wall of the gymnasium, there's a mural. And there's a picture of it on our website. On the mural is, and this was already painted on the wall, is a picture of St. Anthony's at the top of the hill, and the sunshine, the rays of the sunshine flowing into St. Anthony's building and house. And alongside St. Anthony's are stick figure children and families, parents, children, holding hands. That almost looks like a picket fence, but you go closer and you see it's children and families. Holding hands, and then the light of the sunshine flowing through St. Anthony's and through those children out into the community. And there's the lift bridge in the mural, and you see a ship coming in the harbor. And I thought, my gosh, that's our vision. That's the vision that Ray has in Reynosa. We impact these children with the light and the love that we have of Jesus Christ for them, introducing them to Jesus, bringing him into the picture, bringing hope into these families, into their lives. And then they turn around and impact the community with that same light. And underneath it, I looked, and there's a scripture passage where Jesus was wanting to bless the children. Moms were bringing children to Jesus to just bless. And the disciples were saying, go on, go on. And Jesus said, no, don't hinder them. You let the children come unto me. Yeah, let the children come unto me. And at that moment, I realized, oh, this is not about me or how much energy or, there's something bigger going on here. And if I just let go and trust and move out by faith, God's going to do this. He's going to provide everything we need. And he has. And so I would invite you or anyone to come on over and see what God has put together in the last 2.5, now going on our 3rd year in our community center. We are real close to reopening the child care center. We have leased that space out, and that covers all our utilities for the building. So with all the donations that have come in, because people just want to know how to help. People, if we have a need, I'll go to the mailbox, Marcy, and there'll be the amount of money that I need to cover this expense for the electricity. We need more outlets. Oh, I need $500. A check will come in for $500. It's remarkable how God has come alongside us. He goes before us, and he has provided the help and the people, and now we have a community of, like I said, I have about 18 families that are listed on that wall now that affiliate themselves with us. I think I can add another new family, the Chesneys. They're good friends that are now starting to enjoy our mom support group. There's a lot of kinship care in our area, and this is a situation where they're kinship fostering parents and needing support. So.
Sounds exciting.
I could go on and on.
Well,
I should
it
take a
sounds
breath.
like the possibilities basically are endless.
They are.
When you don't step in God's way.
Right.
When you move over and move out,
Yeah.
he moves in.
Yeah.
And he takes care of it.
Yeah.
I was in the home, like I said, after the pro-life march in Superior last year. Nicole and Tom had us over.
I remember that.
And we were in the gymnasium.
Yeah.
And they had one child there at the time. She was so full of energy. And she was having such a good time with the other families. There were children that had come, especially Sarah Winanni's daughter and her children. And so this young girl was intermingling with them. And they were skateboarding. That's how big that gymnasium is. They were skateboarding around it. They were just having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
And I saw the potential there. I didn't get to see the whole building.
I don't know what we would do without that gym.
But
In,
yeah, what a
in
wonderful
northern
place.
Minnesota in the winter,
Yes.
who knew
Yes.
that we needed a gymnasium? But we did, and God knew that. And then we also have a nice outdoor playground.
Oh, that, when I first saw that, it went,
Yeah.
foster care in a protected area.
Yeah, that fence was already there.
Yeah, everything.
We just needed to pray for the swing set, and we got a beautiful swing set. And then we have the Children's Museum, the sculpture of the old shoe. That's in our playground also as a playhouse.
Yeah.
And that's from the Children's Museum, the Duluth Children's Museum.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. People love that, and so do the kids.
Well, now, okay, so we've gotten a good history about your building, how your ministry got started. So let's talk about where you're getting these foster children from. That presentation you made at the beginning, or that I filmed, really I was standing behind the camera with tears in my eyes. You talked about a young child in the middle of the night being put in the back end of a police car. Would you just we don't have a lot of time left. Can you just briefly
Yeah, sure.
talk about where did some of these children come from? How do you get them?
Well,
And it's on a minute's notice sometimes, right?
oh yeah, yeah. Well, I like to say this, and I think this is a true story. Imagine yourself, you're 10 years old, and you find yourself, it's midnight, and you're sitting in the back seat of a police car, and you've had about 10 minutes to gather just a couple things to take with you. So you have this little grocery bag, and you're trying to comfort your little sister, who's 8, and you don't know where you're going. You just know that they had to take you out of that situation because it was unsafe. So the next day is the last day of school, and you're supposed to go on a school trip, maybe to the zoo or the aquarium, and you're in your pajamas, and you forgot to bring your clothes. You didn't think of bringing a change of clothes. And so there you are, you're trying to comfort your sister, and you look up at the police officers, and you can tell that they don't have anywhere to take you. They're trying to figure out where to go because the shelter's full. And so what happens on any given night in St. Louis County alone, there are over 500 children in need of out-of-home placement.
500.
On any given night.
Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm. And the average stay for a fostering family to be fostering, do you want to guess how long they'll stay in the...
I think it varies for a few days to several weeks.
For foster families to be fostering? You mean
Yeah.
to be licensed and then keep their license active?
Mm-hmm.
No. You'd think it would be years, right? That they'd be willing to foster. I'm not talking about the children, I'm talking about the parents. It's a year and a half from the time they get licensed until they're done. That's the average stay of a foster family willing to have beds ready for children.
Okay, so then the child is placed there, but I thought that's the question you were asking us. How long does a child stay in that home then?
Well, for as long as needed.
Okay.
Yeah. But in the shelter, they can only stay up to 30 days. Or they should only stay. But right here in Minnesota, in any week, 185 children enter the foster care system. So that's what we're looking at. Those are the needs we have. And so that's why New Hope for Families is working to raise public awareness about the great need. So tell people, talk to people about fostering. Have you ever thought of fostering? Like I said earlier, I can help you figure it out. If you don't think you can, but you have a desire, and the Lord lays it on your heart, be sure and contact us. But what our goal is also then to do is to support families that are fostering. So we don't have foster families that need to quit because it didn't go well, or they didn't have support, or it was too expensive, they couldn't manage it financially. Because think of it, if you have a dual income family, you want to foster, can you afford the child care? So we work to raise, we want to provide scholarships for child care assistance, connect them to places like the Northland Foundation, which provides child care scholarships for families in need, and help families figure out how we're going to do summer. If it's a dual income family, how are you going to do that? When your kids aren't in school, if they're school age, what camps are available? What camp scholarships can people donate? So there's so many ways people can get involved in making it much more doable for people that are called to foster care. And then oftentimes, if the children cannot be reunited with their families, fostering can lead to an adoption. And that's a well-kept secret, that when you enter the foster care system, adoption becomes much more affordable, and you are supported through that process. And all the children that come into the foster families that we work with thus far have been wards of the county, the state. And so St. Louis County social workers are the ones that we are connected with. They have been so supportive because I think because we just told them, we're here to help you. How can we help you? How can we make your life easier in this work that you're called to do? Because we know they're overworked and there aren't enough of them. And we provide a kids closet so that families can come and get outfitted as they get a new foster care placement. We can help them with anything from a crib to diapers to infant car seats, boots, winter jackets, and we take all of those in from community, families in the community that donate, individuals in the community that put backpacks together for us, so that when the children do come into the shelters, if they come in with that little grocery bag, we can give them a backpack that's got a couple outfits in it that are the right size, a toothbrush, toothpaste, probably a stuffed animal and a blanket and cozy pillow or something, you know, and then they have, that's theirs. They take that with them to their longer term placement or wherever it is that they're gonna land after their 30 days or so in the shelter.
That is an amazing amount of connection. Definitely a lot of organizational need there to keep it moving forward. One person certainly can't do all of that. So do you have, I won't say staff because it's all volunteer, right. Do you have a lot of, enough support at the present time to deal with what you're dealing with?
Yeah, I do. And every day is different. My office hours are now, I try to keep office hours because otherwise I would do it 24/7. So I try to get to my office at New Hope about noon, Monday through Friday, and stay until about 5. And I have an amazing board of directors, and my co-founders are Joe and Briar Fisher. And Joe is the assistant county attorney here in St. Louis County. And he's been involved in the foster care system for years. And so he brings a wealth of knowledge to what we're doing.
Sure.
And other board members include Angela Torgeson, who's a foster mom, and her husband Brandon runs the Minnesota Adult Teen Challenge here in Duluth. So that's another just really good connection. And those gentlemen from Minnesota Adult Teen Challenge have put hours and hours and hours of service in at New Hope. If I need something done, I just call them up and say, hey, you guys, can you come over for a few hours? They were just with us last Friday, helping us get ready for our first ever concert. So we had a fundraiser concert in our concert hall.
Oh.
Sarah May and the Brooklyn Boys were there Friday night, and we raised almost $600 for our
Wonderful.
foster family network. Mm-hmm. And one of our goals, I have to put a little plug in, is to make every floor handicap accessible. And currently the only floor that's not, to get up to that beautiful sanctuary, that concert hall area, that fellowship hall, it's 2 flights of stairs. It's one flight of about 13 stairs, and then you turn the corner and it's another, you know, that's
a little bit of a challenge there.
Yeah. And I had some folks that actually came up with a walker, you know, so I'm looking into getting a chairlift that can go up.
Yeah.
We have a couple different stairwells that go up that. So I'm looking into that.
Well, the next time I get an opportunity to be over there, I'll have to do a little more investigation because like I said, I was in the kitchen. I helped Nicole with
Oh,
the food.
yeah, you need a full tour.
And I need,
Yeah.
yeah, he offered it that day, but I didn't have time, so.
Yeah.
Love to go back.
Oh, I would love to
sometime.
show you around.
Yeah.
Too. And if anyone else is interested in getting involved and coming on over, just take a tour with me. And usually in the course of that, we figure out how it is that you can get connected and you can make a difference. Whether I like to say, I read this in a book, if you're not called to adopt, you can foster. And if you're not called to foster, you can support fostering. And if you're not called to financially support fostering, you can make a meal. You can help clean a house. You can mow a lawn. You can be a driver. You can give a foster family a date night every 2 weeks. Things like that. But the biggest thing we need is prayer. So if you're not called to do any of that, by all means, we really appreciate prayer, because like I said in the beginning, this is not about any one of us. It's all about God's love for children and wanting to make sure that they have a loving and secure place to grow up, a home where they can have security and safety. And that's what we're trying to provide.
Well, we are fighting a big battle here on the pro-life issue, and this is very definitely interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
It's the destruction of families, which has been a tragic thing for so many years. And now, of course, we see big time how it's affected children.
I think too, it's really important to pay attention to what is going on with heroin, meth, and not to mention alcohol addiction. When a parent can't pay attention to keeping a child safe because they're addicted, they're involved in addiction, that's how these kids end up in foster care often. It's the neglect that's the result of an addiction. And so I just think we as a society really need to pay attention to that and start trying to figure that out and come alongside those that are involved in addictions and support recovery. You know, there's some great recovery groups right here in the Northland that are having amazing success. And my foster kids, there's a great success story right there. They're reunited with their daddy, and we support them. I still get them every Saturday night overnight so that he can work a longer shift, and they still come to me every afternoon after school off the bus so he can finish his work shift. So we are continuing to support him, and he's also attending church with us every Sunday. So it's pretty remarkable, and that's what I would like to see more of. My husband and I, we have a church service that's very small on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m., and it's really more of a discipleship group and discipling new believers like this that really want to change their lives, but they need people to come alongside them and not to go back into that same old. And so that's all part of that whole picture of hope.
There's nothing more powerful than the Word of God to change the life of anyone.
Right. That's right, Marcia.
Anyone.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
And until more people hear that. I just heard a sermon. I listen to the Christian radio station all the time when I'm working around the house. You have a choice. You can say no to God, or you can say yes. And when you do say yes, it changes your life. But you have to be willing to want to do that.
Right.
And so more work from the churches to be like you are, discipling, is one way, because people don't necessarily feel comfortable going into a strange church, but they feel comfortable if they get to know who you are and sit down and you just start fellowshipping with them and teaching them. I think that's more powerful than the big churches.
That is so true, Marcy, that it's not about the numbers.
No.
It's about the personal relationship. And you know that starfish story? Are you familiar with the starfish story? I learned this years back, but there's a little boy walking on the beach, and he came upon all these thousands and thousands of starfish that were stranded because of the tide. The tide had gone out, and they were struggling for life on the shore, and they needed to get back into the water. So the little boy started picking up one after another and just tossing them back into the ocean. And along came this man, and he said, "Son, look at all these. You're really not making much of a dent. Let it go, go play or whatever." And he was holding a starfish in his hand. And he looked up at the guy and he said, "You know what though, mister? It makes a difference to this one." And he tossed it back out there and he kept going. The man walked away. And about 5 minutes later, the man comes back and he helps him. And, it really is a picture of what fostering is like. You help one child for a time in their life where they need you. And you make those connections. Hopefully you can connect with the parents as they're being reunited. If not, then they're a part of your life, in every way. Just, there's so many different ways. But because of the love of Christ compelling us, we stay involved and we take care of this one scenario, and then it's launched, and then the next one comes along. And then this is the discipleship that the Lord gives you. And then that, you just pour into this one. And so it's really, I think we really need to pay attention to the fact that, like what Christ said, the poor you will always have with you. You follow me, and you just do the next right thing.
Amen to that one, for sure. Well, I'm not sure how much time we have left. Been sort of not watching my clock here. However, here he comes. Oh, we've got 5 minutes, so we're going to wrap it up.
Okay.
We're going to, one more time about the gala. And
I should also mention May is foster care month.
Oh.
And so we're thinking of the possibility of putting on a fundraiser at our community center this year. Now that everything's opening up, we're thinking of maybe a foster family fair, or some type of outdoor event, or if it's not outdoor weather, down in the gymnasium, where families from all over the community can come and take part in a little carnival where there's stations, and very much like what we do in Reynosa, to connect with the community. And the kids play little games, and they can win little prizes and things like that, and go from station to station. But through that, we're hoping to raise more public awareness, make more connections, and just let people know that we're there. We're here to support you in many different ways. So that's May, and then the gala is in September.
September 15th.
Yep, and the planning is underway. If you have any kind of talents that you think we might be able to make use of at New Hope, and you have a desire to get involved, like you said, Marcy, we're an army of volunteers who just love the Lord, want to serve the Lord, and then have an impact with these kids and really truly make a difference in these families.
And so that's at Northland Country Club.
The gala, yep.
Yes, okay. And there will be a silent and a live auction once again.
Yep.
And then a meal.
Yes, a sit-down meal this year.
Okay. Okay, I think we've covered everything, and I really appreciate your coming in here today and letting us know more about it. You've got so many possibilities out there, and I'm sure that the Lord's going to continue to bless this. And
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I look forward to giving you a full tour
I'd love to do that.
anytime. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thanks for coming in.